Betrayal at the altar. When my best friend tried to steal my fiancé. I never imagined I'd be sharing this story, but here I am. My name is Olivia, and until about 6 months ago, I believed my best friend, Chloe, was the one person who would never let me down. We'd been friends for over 10 years, practically sisters. We did everything together, from middle school sleepovers filled with giggling about boys, to high school pep rallies, to countless post-graduation nights out. We were thick as thieves. But something shifted when I started dating Ethan, my high school sweetheart turned fiancé. Ethan and I had been together for 3 years when he proposed. It was the perfect moment, or so I thought. I remember excitedly telling Chloe about Ethan when we first started dating. She was always so supportive, always cheering me on, at least that's how I remember it. Looking back, there were subtle signs, small things that I dismissed as nothing. I should have paid more attention. We'd always been incredibly close. So when Ethan popped the question at our favorite restaurant, Chloe was the first person I called to share the news. She was ecstatic initially, but there was something off in her voice, a quiet undercurrent of resentment. I told myself it was just my imagination, maybe the stress of work. But in the weeks that followed, the cracks in our friendship started to show. It wasn't obvious at first. Chloe congratulated me. Sure, but then I noticed she started pulling away. I tried not to let it bother me. Weddings are stressful, and I was busy planning. But there were times when I'd call her to chat, and she wouldn't pick up. When she did, she was distant or distracted, offering half-hearted responses like, "I'm just tired," or "I've got a lot going on." It was weird, but I figured it was just wedding stress. Then came the night I realized it wasn't just about me getting married. It was about her. It happened a week before the engagement party. It was a Friday night and we were supposed to meet up for drinks, a casual celebration with some friends. But when I arrived at the bar, Chloe was already there, sitting with a group of people I didn't recognize. As I approached the table, I noticed her stiffen, as if she wasn't exactly thrilled to see me. "Hey," I smiled, trying to shake off the weird vibe. "I didn't realize you brought so many people." Chloe's smile was forced. "Yeah, I thought it would be fun to mix things up," she said. But I could see the tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes kept darting around the room. We didn't even hug, which was unusual. We were always huggers. I tried to shake it off, but the night didn't improve. As we talked, I noticed Chloe becoming more and more distant. At one point, she turned her attention to a new guy at the table, who I later found out was her coworker. They were laughing about something. But when I looked closely, her eyes flicked over to me in an almost judgmental way. The kind of look you get when someone's watching you, waiting for you to fail. Then the conversation shifted. We were talking about wedding plans, and I mentioned how I was deciding between a beach wedding or a more formal venue. Chloe, who was always so supportive of my decisions, suddenly interrupted. "Honestly, I don't get why you'd want to make such a big deal out of it. It's just a wedding." Her voice was cold, almost condescending. "You don't need to spend all that money. People are going to forget about it anyway." I was stunned, my mouth going dry. "What do you mean? It's not just about the money. It's about celebrating with the people we love," I said, trying to mask the hurt in my voice. She shrugged. "Sure, but you could just elope, right? Wouldn't that be way less of a hassle?" The table went quiet, and I could feel the awkwardness creep in. I tried to laugh it off, but something inside me was twisting. This wasn't my best friend anymore. This was someone else, someone who was acting like everything I was doing was wrong. That night, when I got home, I cried. I thought about everything, how Chloe had been acting recently, how she used to be so supportive of my dreams, and now seemed to take joy in tearing them down. But I told myself it was probably just a phase. The next few weeks went by with Chloe's distance growing. I started to realize that the cracks in our friendship weren't just about me getting engaged. It was something deeper. It wasn't until I caught a glimpse of her Facebook status a few days before the engagement party that I truly understood how deep the jealousy ran. It was a post with a photo of Chloe and another friend captioned, "Some people just can't handle when things change." The subtle jab at me couldn't have been clearer. I sat there for a few minutes, staring at my screen, my heart sinking. It was like all the pieces clicked into place. Her behavior, the distance, the comments she'd made. I was getting married. and it felt like she wasn't happy for me at all. The day of the engagement party arrived. Ethan and I were excited. We had a lot of friends coming, including Chloe, of course. But as the evening wore on and everyone gathered, Chloe was nowhere to be found. My phone buzzed with texts from other people asking where she was. I tried calling her, but there was no answer. My stomach twisted with a mix of frustration and confusion. It wasn't until about an hour into the party that I received a text from Chloe. It was short. "Oops, I forgot. I was busy watching TV." Stung, but I didn't let it show, not yet. I put my phone down and took a deep breath. This wasn't over. I retreated to a quiet corner of the venue, my phone still in my hand, that awful text message from Chloe staring back at me. I was busy watching TV. Felt so dismissive, so careless. I hit her number and waited for the ringing, my heart thudding in my chest. I needed answers. She picked up after a few seconds, and I could hear the sound of static in the background. Probably her TV. "Hey," she said, her voice casual, like nothing was wrong. "What's up?" I could feel my grip tightening on the phone. I swallowed down the lump in my throat before speaking. "Really, Chloe? Really? I've been trying to reach you all night. You were supposed to be here. And now I find out you're sitting on your couch watching TV." My voice shook with a mix of anger and hurt, but I didn't care. It needed to be said. There was a long silence on the other end of the line, just enough for me to feel that familiar sinking feeling in my stomach. Then she spoke, but not in the way I expected. "You know," she started, her voice suddenly dripping with sarcasm. "You always were a little overdramatic. It's just a party. You're acting like it's the end of the world." She sounded like she was mocking me, almost like she was enjoying this. My breath caught in my throat. "You're acting like it's the end of the world?" Was she serious? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like she completely dismissed everything that mattered to me. I don't know what happened to you, Chloe. You've been acting like this for weeks now. I don't even recognize you anymore," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I thought we were supposed to be best friends. What happened to that?" She scoffed. "You really want to know? Fine. Here's the truth, Olivia. You've changed ever since you started dating Ethan. It's like you've forgotten about everyone else. And now you're getting engaged, acting all perfect and shiny. And frankly, it's annoying." Her words hit like a slap across my face. Annoying? She was mad at me for being happy? I wanted to shout. I wanted to tell her how hurt I was, how much she'd let me down. But I stayed silent for a moment, trying to hold back the tears threatening to spill. "I'm sorry I'm so perfect and shiny," I said, the bitterness in my voice impossible to ignore. I didn't realize being happy was a crime. There was a pause, and then, like she couldn't help herself, Chloe laughed. It wasn't a joyful laugh. It was a cold, spiteful laugh. "Oh, Olivia, you just don't get it, do you?" Her tone was almost mockingly sweet. "It's not about you being happy. It's about how you've made everything about you. You've always done that. But now you're making it unbearable." My blood boiled. Everything about me? Had she really just said that? The Chloe I used to know would have never talked to me like this. "You know what, Chloe? Maybe you're right," I said, my voice laced with anger. "Maybe I've been so wrapped up in planning my future with Ethan that I forgot about you. But honestly, I've been so busy dealing with your attitude lately that I almost forgot what it feels like to have a friend who actually cares." There was a long silence, and then she snapped back with something that cut deeper than anything she'd said before. "You know what, Olivia? Maybe you should just stop pretending you're so innocent in all this. You're so caught up in your fairy tale that you can't even see how selfish you've become. But hey, whatever. Go ahead and keep planning your perfect wedding. I'll be over here living my life without all this drama." Before I could respond, she hung up. I stood there completely stunned. My phone buzzed again, but I didn't even bother looking. My hands were shaking, my thoughts were racing, and I was no longer sure who Chloe was anymore. The friend I'd known for over a decade felt like a stranger. I took a deep breath. I knew I couldn't let her ruin my night. This was my engagement party, and no matter what she said or did, I wasn't going to let her take away the happiness I felt. I decided to enjoy the rest of the evening. Ethan was by my side, looking handsome in his suit, grinning from ear to ear like he'd just won the lottery. I couldn't resist snapping a few pictures of Ethan and me together, our arms around each other beaming. I captioned one of them, "The one who really matters." Felt like the perfect little jab. I didn't tag Chloe, but I knew she'd see it. A couple of hours passed, and I was dancing with my friends when I heard my phone buzz. I glanced at it and saw a notification. It was Chloe. I braced myself. She'd commented on the photo. "Must be nice to have such a perfect life, huh? Too bad it's all a show." I showed the comment to Ethan and we both laughed it off. He rubbed my shoulder affectionately, and we went back to enjoying the night. But then things took a turn. A few minutes later, I noticed Chloe walking through the door, looking way too casual for a party she wasn't invited to. She was wearing jeans and a hoodie, her hair thrown up in a messy bun. Her eyes immediately scanned the room, and I could feel the tension building. She was clearly there to stir things up. I tried to ignore her, but then I noticed her heading straight for the center of the room, where a small group of friends and family were gathered. She was acting all chill, but her movements were too calculated. She was trying to make a statement. Chloe tried to approach me, but I stayed with Ethan, who was holding my hand. She glanced around at the crowd, then turned her attention to me, her voice louder than necessary. Well, Olivia. Looks like your little fairy tale is going great, huh?" she said, a clear hint of bitterness in her tone. I mean, I've never been a fan of the whole look at me vibe, but hey, it's your big day, right? I felt my stomach churn. The whole vibe was off. People were starting to notice, and whispers had already begun. "Isn't it a little awkward?" Chloe continued, not missing a beat. "That all of your friends here are just showing up for a show? Like you're all pretending to be so happy, but we all know what's really going on behind the scenes." Ethan stepped in, his protective side coming out. He gently but firmly placed his hand on my shoulder. "Chloe, I think it's time for you to leave." And that's when it happened. As Chloe tried to make her dramatic exit, with a smug smile on her face, she turned too quickly toward the door and tripped over the edge of the rug, sprawling forward and crashing into the floor with a loud thud. The entire room went silent for a split second before the snickers started. Then came the laughter. People couldn't help it. Chloe, the girl who had been trying so hard to stir the pot, was now the subject of every eye in the room. She tried to stand up, her face red with embarrassment, but she slipped again, stumbling to her feet. "Oh my God," she muttered under her breath, her eyes darting around the room. I could feel the tension lifting from my shoulders as people started laughing. It wasn't the good kind of laughter. It was the kind that said, "You got what you deserved." Chloe's face turned bright crimson. She glared at me, her eyes practically burning with rage. But she said nothing. She just turned and stormed out of the room, the door slamming behind her with a sharp crack. I stood there still in shock, trying to process what had just happened. But as I looked around at the people who stayed, at those who were still smiling and laughing with me, I realized this was the moment Chloe had finally shown her true colors. The night went on, and I made sure to enjoy every single second of it. Later that night, I received a few angry texts from Chloe, but they didn't faze me anymore. I'd already made my decision. The morning after the party, I woke up with a heavy head, still trying to process everything that had happened. Chloe's fall was still fresh in my mind, and honestly, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I hadn't realized how much I'd been holding in. Just as I was about to relax, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at the screen. It was Chloe. I hesitated. Should I just block her? Or maybe ignore the call and save myself the stress? I debated, but curiosity got the best of me. I answered the phone. "Hello." A long pause. Then Chloe's voice came through, low and tight with anger. "You think you won, don't you?" I groaned inwardly, already feeling my blood pressure rise. "What do you want, Chloe?" "You really think Ethan's all yours now, huh?" she asked almost coldly. "You think he's your perfect fiancé, your Prince Charming?" I wasn't sure where she was going with this, but I could feel the tension in her words. I sat up in bed, pulling the covers tighter around me. "I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one who showed up to my engagement party uninvited, causing drama for no reason. If you've got something to say, just say it." She laughed, a bitter, dry sound. "Oh, I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're too blind to see it." I clenched my jaw. See what, Chloe? There was a long pause. So long that I almost thought she'd hung up. But then she spoke again, her voice quiet, like she was choosing her words carefully. I've been in love with Ethan for years, Olivia. Years. And I let you have him. I let you think that you two were perfect, that you had this dream life. But all the while, it was me who really deserved him. I'm the one who understands him. I'm the one who knows him. I'm the one who knows what he really wants. My stomach lurched. This wasn't happening. Are you serious right now, Chloe? You're saying that you've been in love with Ethan all this time, and you're just now telling me this? All this time you've been acting like my best friend, but all you wanted was him? Chloe's voice became more heated. I never wanted to hurt you, Olivia, but you took him from me. And now that you're getting engaged, you think you're the one he really wants? No, I'm the one who deserves him. I've always been there for him. I've always been his real friend. You don't know him like I do. I couldn't breathe. The words felt like punches. You're insane. I finally managed to say, you seriously think you deserve Ethan more than me? You think he'd want someone like you after all the crap you've pulled? This is about you and your own insecurities. Chloe, not about Ethan or me. I'm not insecure, she snapped. I'm just tired of watching you pretend to be the perfect couple when we both know the truth. I should be the one wearing that ring, not you. I could feel the anger bubbling inside me, rising to the surface like a volcano ready to erupt. You need to stop right now. Ethan isn't a prize for you to claim. He's not some object you can win by playing games. He chose me, Chloe. I am the one he loves. And I don't care if you think you deserve him. You don't get to act like this. You don't get to manipulate people and think you'll get away with it. You've made this all about you for so long, and I'm done. I'm done with you. There was silence on the other end of the line for a moment. I thought she'd hang up. I was almost relieved. But then she spoke again, her voice dangerously quiet. You're making a huge mistake. Olivia, you'll regret pushing me away. No one else is going to put up with you and your perfect little life. Ethan's going to see the truth eventually. He always does. And when he does, I'll be there. My heart raced, not out of fear, but out of pure disgust. I could feel the tears of frustration welling up behind my eyes.
No, Chloe.
You're the one who's going to regret this. Don't ever speak to me again. Don't call, don't text, don't even think about showing up to any more of my events. We're done. And I mean it. There was a long, drawn-out pause on the other end of the line. I could practically feel her seething with rage, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't afraid of her petty jealousy or her manipulative games. I was done. Fine, she spat, her voice dripping with venom. But don't say I didn't warn you. You'll see. You'll all see. And with that, the line went dead. I sat there in stunned silence, the weight of the conversation pressing down on me. I had just cut ties with Chloe, the person I had once considered my closest friend, the person I had trusted with my deepest secrets. But I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't allow her to keep manipulating me or Ethan. The toxic jealousy was too much. Days had passed since I'd cut ties with Chloe. At first, I was consumed by anger, frustration, and disbelief. But over time, the storm settled and I found myself oddly calm. Then yesterday, something unexpected happened. I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw a post from Chloe. A photo of her sitting at a bar, smiling and looking so casual. The caption read, "Learning to let go. On to bigger and better things." I stared at the screen for a long time. It was so passive-aggressive. Then it hit me. She had moved on and I had too. Maybe I didn't need to worry about her anymore. Maybe it was all part of growing up and leaving behind toxic people. So here we are. The engagement party was a distant memory, and Chloe's drama was nothing but a chapter I'd closed in my life. Did I handle it the right way? Let me know what you think in the comments.